we are making these. As of right now. You start off with a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See the chain 5? Okay, then what you do with this is you slip stitch it into this up into your first stitch. Okay, you take this, you're going to wrap it around there, and you're just going to slip stitch it into the other side. As you can see, you make a circle. Okay, we'll call that the magic circle, or it could just be a circle. And you chain 1 more, and then you're going to do 9 half double crochets in that, which will be 10 half double crochets. So go 1, 1, 'cause I always take my tail and I tuck it so I can put it underneath to have double crochets, as you can see. 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets in the circle, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 and a half double crochets there, so then you check to make sure you got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And just to make sure, you go ahead and do number 10. 10 half double crochets. And you take and slip stitch that to connect it to the first one, which is slip stitches just like that. Pretty easy. Next step is you take and you chain 2. Okay, and then you're going to do 2 double crochets in each stitch. This is called a double crochet increase. And you're going to do that to make 20 double crochets all the way around the circle. 1, 2, well that's 1 and 2, and then you're going to make 3, and 4 here, okay, and then 5, and 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to go ahead and finish off this portion, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, now I have 20 all the way around, so what I'm going to do to make it where that gap's not there anymore is I'm going to slip stitch here into this stitch, and you take it like this and you pull tight, and as you can see, it completes the circle. Alright, now with this next step, it's called a front post puff stitch. Okay, it's pretty difficult to do, so I'm gonna try to concentrate and slow it down for you to see. First put your yarn over, and then you go inside the stitch, which is the little double crochet. Okay, then you yarn it. You go inside like this and flip it up, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through again, and then you take and yarn over one more time, and you pull through all those stitches. As you can see, you have a kind of a loop on a loop, and then you loop one more time and pull out. Okay, and then after that, you're going to single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, and then at that point, then you're going to make a chain one, and you're going to skip this stitch right here, the next one over, and then you're going to puff stitch into the next one. Single crochet into the next stitch. You're going to repeat these all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll meet you back in a minute. Alright, since I only have 2 left, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I remind you that when you do the single crochet, you have to do a chain stitch. When you wrap around, make sure you're skipping that stitch and going into the next one. Loop over, loop over, that puff stitch on that double crochet, and then you're going to single crochet again into the next stitch, and then follow that up with a chain one, and then you're going to do the last puff stitch. Single crochet into that last stitch there, and then you're going to slip stitch to close it off. And here's your 10 puff stitches. Next step is to chain 2, and then you're going to double crochet into each chain 1 stitch that you made in a previous round. So as you can see, you're only doing 1 after your chain 2, but the next chain 1 stitch that you're going to have here, I believe, yeah, right here, you're going to go 1 and 2. Okay, and then you're going to go into the next chain 1 stitch there with 2 of those as well. 1 and 2. So basically, you're just taking and you're going around the whole circle, and each stitch after the puff stitch, you're adding 2 double crochets, which will at the end, we'll have you 40 double crochet stitches all the way around. I'll meet you at the end. Once you get to the 40th stitch, then you're going to go ahead and do that same thing where you slip stitch into the first stitch and complete your circle. Alright, now in this next move, you're going to create a pattern of 3 different stitches, okay? The first one is going to be a front post double crochet. So you're going to go under the post there and up and around, and that creates a front post. The reason it's a front post is because if you look, it's in front of that post. Okay, so it's a front post double crochet. The second one you're going to do is a back post double crochet. Now you're going to take your hook, you're going to go around the back of your post, and then you're going to collect that stitch there and move it up front, but then you're going to loop it and over. you can see, it's a back post crochet because it's behind that post. That post there, see, behind it. So it's a back post. Then you're going to do another front post crochet in that next stitch. And then you can see you've got front post, back post, front post. And you'll finish that double crochet, and then you're going to chain one. And on this next 3 pattern, you're going to do the back post crochet first. So in the back post crochet, double crochet, and then you're going to do a front post double crochet next. And then you're going to do another back post crochet. And that completes the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 pattern. Now you're going to do that all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and show you one more time on that. So the first one's going to be a front post crochet, double crochet. Next will be a back post double crochet. And another front post double crochet. And then you're going to chain one. And then you're going to do a back post double crochet. A front post double crochet. And another back post double crochet. Then you will chain one again. And you will continue this all the way around. I'll meet you at the end. Alright, now that they're all finished all the way around, you're going to go ahead and do your little slip stitch there and a stitch here. Your first stitch. To close your circle up. And that completes the circle. Okay? For the pattern that we're going to be doing, you're going to need 12 of these circles. You can do them in any colors. I'm doing them in a series of 4 different colors. I'm doing this color, white, black, and this gray. We're going to be making it, it's a geometric bath mat. I have to refresh myself for a moment, but I will return to get onto the rest of this pattern. But as for this circle here, you are complete with the circle, so you can go ahead, and I usually chain one so that my stitch does not fall apart, and then I pull out and I cut it here just short of the bottom here, like that, and I pull it. But then once I do this to hide the string, I'm going to show you a really cool trick I learned from someone on YouTube. You know, yarn up a needle. I'm pretty good at that, so it has to be a darning needle though. Okay. You take and you go into that stitch here in the front and hide your knot. See how it hit that knot? It's not there anymore. And then you're going to take this and you're going back into that stitch there. Well, the next one over. I usually go the next one over. And you're just going to go all the way through to the bottom of the creation here and lace as best you can with that needle. There are those stitches. And you pull it here through the middle. See? What's that? Pulled with string totally through the middle. You got to pull it back out. Just, you know, stretch back out. And you just take it there and cut it there in the bottom. And as you can see, it completely hides that. No more string. You want to do that for when you do your next part of the pattern, where you're just going to go in with a new color to any of these stitches here. And then I'll have more information for that when I come back. Alright, I'm back. So now I'm I'm going to show the next part of the pattern. We've got our new color hooked up to the pattern, to the project there. And I'm going to go ahead and chain 2. There's 1 and there's 2, okay? And in this part of the pattern, it states that you're supposed to put 2 double crochets after your initial 2 chains. 1 and 2. Okay, and then it states that you have to chain 2, 1, 2, and then put 3 double crochets in that same stitch. 1, 2, and 3. As I go, I always like to tuck this underneath my stitches. That way it just hides it as I go. Okay, so the next step is to go into the next chain 1, which as you can see you have to go between 3 of the stitches here to get to that. So you're going to go there and you're going to put 3 double crochets in that chain 1. Oops. Try not to get that tail in there. Just to get this tail out of the way, I'm just going to pull it through and then cut it right there in the beginning, so it's not in the way anymore. Okay. So then after you get those 2 stitches, then you go to the next chain 1 here, which is after 3 stitches again. And you're going to do that same first part of the pattern, where you're going to go in 3 double crochets first. Chain 2 and 3 more double crochets in that same stitch. And then you're going to do the next, you're going to move to the next chain 1 space, which is right here, and you're going to go 3 double crochets. And 3. And you're going to do that all the way around that same pattern, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and I'll be back in a minute. This is what you will have once you finish your going around the belts. I will be back short. Hello, you're back with Tabi Crochets. Now, I'm doing my tutorial for placing all the placemat pieces together. I've done all the crochet up to downs. As you can see, they're all rolled up, really nice and neat, real pretty. And now we're discussing on how we're going to put them together. I have a layout plan here with 4 and 4 and 4 and a 3 layout pattern. So in order to put these together, we then have to take these and hexagon them out in a pattern layout so that the pattern fits everything. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to start with these down here at the bottom and sew them together. I'm turning them on the wrong side up and then sew them out this way. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'm going to start out with 4, the first 4, and I'm going to sew 2 and 2 together, each one. And the way I sew these 2 together, start off with these 2 first. Just take the white thread, I'm going to use white because it seems a little easier to hide in some of these. lace up your needle. Okay, pop it in the corner here. And you just kind of look for the edge piece here, okay? You see how you have these little, like almost like a braid in the middle of these? Well, you're gonna pop your little needle into the center of that braid there, because that's how you're gonna hide your stitches, is in that center, okay? And then you're gonna put these two together here like this, corner to corner. And get that needle in there, okay? And then you're gonna pull that weight thread through for a pretty decently long piece, because you're gonna be sewing all these together all once. But for now, we're gonna do short pieces because of the fact that it's just this little edge here, this edge piece here. So we're gonna go ahead and cut that like this, and tie that off here. And when I tie, I always leave a nice, somewhat long tail so that I can hide the tail as well in two pieces. Like that, and then I'll take that and I'll hide it later. Okay? So then you take this and you just kind of go weave in and out of that. But you go in through the little pole pieces here that you can see. Like this. So that way you can hide the stitches too inside of that. As you can see, you can't really see the white there. And then you go in the next stitch here through the center piece there, like I said, and then through that center piece there on the next one, and you pull it through to the other side like so. And if you look, you can't really see that stitch unless you really look for it. And you just perform a zigzag sort of in and out sew pattern on that. But you always go into that centerpiece hole so that you can hide that stitch pretty well. As you can see, the stitch is pretty well hidden in there. And since this will be the back part, it'll be what's on the floor, you'll never really see that. I'm going to go ahead and do all of them together, and I'll come back and show you the end results. I've gotten to the end of that, and as you can see, it's sewn together, and the stitches are pretty well hidden there. And if you look on the other side, you can't even see the stitches at all. And that's what kind of result you want when you do your sewing. So you're going to put all 4 of these together, and I will be back once the 4 are put together, and then, we'll go from there. Alright, I have completed the 4 patches for the rug, as you can see. Right? I left these long tails like this because I have a way bigger rug to make, so therefore they're going to be the connectors for the rest of the rug. Right, there's the 4 on both sides. There's the clean side, one everybody will see, and the 4 side, one everybody will see. And once I finish putting all of the rest of these together, I will show you the final results. And we are working on doing our final 4 squares, or 4 dots. And this is the full layout. Once I'm completely finished, I will show you it in the place where it's going to go. I have completed the bath mat. Here it is. In all its glory. Isn't it lovely?